Welcome back to another episode of Yanks Abroad. A huge week for the Americans in Europe as we saw Folarin Balogun back in action. We saw Johnny Cardoso score a goal for Real Betis, his third goal of the year, and in their huge derby with Sevilla, we saw Chris Richards and Crystal Palace move on to the semifinals of the FA Cup. Unfortunately, Tyler Adams crashed out with Bournemouth in a tough match for them. And we saw Josh Sargent score a huge goal for Norwich in the championship late on in that match. Weston McKennie had a great match. Serginho Dest back in that PSV starting 11 for the second time. And Malik Tillman made his return to PSV to play the second half in their match with Ajax. So a lot of good news there. But we obviously are all still a little bit hungover from what happened over the international break. Those horrible, disappointing performances, both in results and in the way that we played. All sorts of issues, understanding we're missing those key players, but all sorts of issues nonetheless. And I've seen a lot of people clamoring for us to go to a back three, back five system. And I just want to address that on this episode as the main topic of what I'm going to get into. Look, Stu Holden, somebody we all read and see and hear. He's out there. He is a part of the discussion when it comes to the U.S. men's national team. I mean, I feel like we have all these talking heads. He's one of them. We see what he says. He tweeted on March 29th, thriving in a back 3-5 system, talking about Chris Richards, thriving in a back 3/5 system, maintain my belief that the U.S. men's national team will be best served with three center backs, even if one ends up as Joe Scally as a right center back, wingbacks being Serginho Dest and Anthony Robinson. So, I say to that, this is what I have put together as the best formation for the U.S. men's national team when everybody is fully fit. Obviously, this is a out-of-possession formation, basically how you would defend. And then when it's in possession, it looks a little bit different. We've gone over this, but just to quickly get it together for everybody, you're kind of looking at something like this. With him coming in here. Sorry, Tessman's dropping here, Pulisic here, Anthony here. This is what it looks like in possession. We know this already. This is nothing new. But out of possession, it's a 4 at the back. What they're suggesting is to look something like this. And I don't think this is really our best formation for a lot of reasons. Number one, let's take a look at our defensive options. Chris Richards, our best defender right now. I think we can all agree. He plays in a back 3/5 system. That's why Stu Holden is calling for this. But if you look at his heat map and where he plays, this is just one match, but generally speaking, this is where he plays on this right center back side. This is where he's at his best. So if we're moving to this back 3, back 5 system, this is to get Chris Richards into his best position. Center back is not his best position. He would not be a very viable center back. He is not enough of an enforcer. He's not the world's best tackler. He's a little bit lackadaisical. He's great at defending out wide. He's great at picking the ball out wide and actually building up in possession from those positions. Hence, when you come back to basically in possession here, that's where you have Chris Richards in this area where he is so successful for Crystal Palace. I'm not taking him out of his best position. This is his best position in this right center back. This, remember, keep in mind, this is a back 4 that we're talking about here when I have Richards in that position, right? This is how that lineup starts. That's where Chris Richards is at his best. Okay, our other center back that we all want to start, Mark McKenzie, whether it be Mark McKenzie or Tim Ream, but nonetheless, we know Tim Ream likes to play off the left, Mark McKenzie. Mark McKenzie is pretty much the inverse of Chris Richards. This is going up the left side of the pitch. Mark McKenzie operates as a left center back in a back 5. Another player who plays in a back 3 or back 5, however one you call it, but not a center back. So we're making this change to a back 3/back 5 in order to get our players to feel more comfortable, right? But these are two players who play left center back and right center back. Neither of them are center back. Then let's look at Joe Scally. Joe Scally, yeah, he could maybe slot into this right center back role, but this is a player who plays on the touchline. Serginho Dest, this is a player who likes to get forward. Yeah, so that works as him as a wingback. We like that, but he likes to play also through the middle of the park. Look how many times he's picking up the ball here. Hence, why I like the idea of staying in that position we had before. Tessman drops back in possession, and Serginho Dest is able to get into this pivot in possession. And I saw someone in the comments not like that, but this is where Serginho Dest likes to operate, in these right half spaces. Look at the difference between him and Joe Scally. Joe Scally, right back, true right back, not an inverted right back, a true right back. These are the areas of the pitch he operates in. Look where Serginho Dest's hottest spot is. Does it look familiar? Does it look familiar at all to what I'm pointing out? Yes, it looks exactly the same. This is where Serginho Dest like to operate. If we were to go to a back five, you're adding another defender, right? You're getting rid of Joe Scally. You're doing Dest and you're doing Anthony Robinson at left wing back. Those two players can operate out there. I'm not too worried about that. That works great. As we see here, Anthony Robinson in the preferred forward at the back formation operates right here. If you're going to go to a back three or a back five, however you want to call it, Cameron Carter-Vickers is the player who is going to have to play in that center back role. He is the only player who is probably capable and is conditioned to play that position most often. Look where Cameron Carter-Vickers operates. It's a little bit closer to that center back position, right? Look at a couple of his matches. It's a lot closer to being in the center of the park. This is the type of player Cameron Carter-Vickers is. Not a good defender in wide 1v1s. Somebody who likes to kind of wait for the ball to come to them, but then make a tackle, go to ground. One who makes a lot of clearances. That's the kind of center back Cameron Carter-Vickers can be. But that would mean that Cameron Carter-Vickers is a starter for the U.S. men's national team, and I personally don't want that. I don't know about everyone else. Let us know in the comments. But Cameron Carter-Vickers, every time he's played for the U.S. men's national team, has been a huge disappointment. I have found that every big match I've watched him in, he lets his team down. He's a very solid Scottish Premiership defender, and I think Celtic fans get very upset when you say anything bad about him. But when it comes down to it, he's not cut at the right cloth to play at the highest level, to make key decisions in key moments. He's continuously made mistakes in those moments. But nonetheless, let's continue to talk about why we may play in this formation. Yes, you're able to defend a little bit lower down like this. You're able to knock this off. Johnny Cardoso gets to come in the side in this kind of formation for sure, because you're looking for more of a two-controller situation. Pulisic is going to tuck in here a little more. Weah will tuck in here a little more, and you'll get Anthony up here. You'll get Dest up here. You could even play this formation with Adams dropping in here, and you could get Musa right here if you wanted to. And then, in possession, Musa comes up here and Dest drops in here, and these two can kind of operate. You can do Musa up here. This could be Weah, who can play as a right wing back, and then you can drop Cardoso back into the midfield. There's a lot of different options, and I respect that, because I do think it allows Pulisic to have more space to roam. It allows Pepe or Balogun, whoever the number 9 is. I think in a back five, Pepe would be a better number 9. For a lot of reasons, including his hold-up play, his ability to play as an aerial threat, his ability to play off Pulisic a little bit better. And obviously, Anthony can get higher. I get the reasons to play this back 3, back 5, but at the end of the day, you're going to lose at least one of Weston McKennie and Yunus Musa, if not both, from the starting 11. You're going to lose Tanner Tessman from the starting 11. You're going to be putting Cameron Carter-Vickers into the starting 11. It makes up for some of our mistakes, and I think it's a viable option, but when it comes down to it, it's not a better option. This is a better option. You have Chris Richards operating in where he's most comfortable. Mark McKenzie, this is in possession, but out of possession, these two guys get to defend where they're comfortable. It allows Dest to pop in and also pop out wide, as we saw with Serginho Dest before in his heat map. Let's just look at his career heat maps here for just a second. He likes to be inverted. This is this season, right? Let's look at last season when he had his best year. Look at where this player is. This is not a player who's going to be just out on the touchline. Last year, he played left back, of course, but look at all the red-hot zones in the half spaces. Let's look at 2021, or 1920, better I say, for Ajax. Look at where he's playing. This is not a player who comes out to the right back and sticks out there like he would have to do in a back 5 situation. Tactical manager, another person, obviously, in the U.S. men's national team, area that we hear talk so much about the team, and I agree with a lot what he has to say, but he said, and he tweeted, at some point we're going to have to accept the fact that the U.S. men's national team will have to become soccer terrorists and turn into 1-0 merchants to accomplish anything at the World Cup. We are going to have to play Tyler, Johnny, and McKennie in the midfield, make the game unwatchable, and pull through 1-0 wins with Pulisic, Weah, Anthony Robinson, and Balogun in transition. You don't hire Mauricio Pochettino if you want to change to that kind of formation. If we went and hired somebody else, sure. But you don't hire Mauricio Pochettino if you plan to play terrorist football. And I think that's the key thing to me, is was Mauricio Pochettino the right hire for this team? I'm not giving up on him just yet. I think he's a good developer of young talent. I think he hasn't had the ability to have his 11 there over and over again, the people he wants in the camp. Has he had some issues identifying players in the right positions? Yes. Has he been a little bit too laissez-faire with moving players around to different positions every single match when he's trying to implement his style? 1,000%. But I do think Mauricio Pochettino is still the right hire. Obviously, Jurgen Klopp, someone we reached out to, not someone we were actually going to hire. Is this back five situation? You know who this really, really would work well with? With what manager this would really work well with overall? Gareth Southgate. Gareth Southgate would take this team right here. He would take this team right here very, very far. This is the lineup that Gareth Southgate would have done excellently with. He would have really, really excelled with this exact formation, even with Cameron Carter-Vickers. We saw him do it with England. And I don't mean excel, we're going to enjoy watching it, but he would have taken the U.S. men's national team to a higher level than we had been before. And I think the fact that we were so bored by the way Berhalter played cost us in this coaching hiring. Not that I regret hiring Mauricio Pochettino over Gareth Southgate. Not that Gareth Southgate even would have taken the U.S. men's national team job, because I think for him it's a little bit too risky, right? He kind of had this great time with England from an outside perspective, but in England, people ended up quite frustrated with him. But this 11 with Gareth Southgate would have been fantastic. His ability to play a low block, to dominate possession, maybe chance creation wasn't his best, but this double pivot, I mean, this is like when he had Rice and Phillips. He's got, the wingback that can get way up the pitch. He's got his right winger that can hug to the touchline and come in. He's got his center forward, whether it be Balogun or Kane, who can both link up, play deep, and win aerial duels in the box. And then he's got his killer, who likes to get into these, number 10 positions, how he likes to play Phil Foden, who comes in off the left side and can make things happen. This is a lineup that Gareth Southgate would have done excellently with, but we're stuck with Mauricio Pochettino for good or for bad. And I think he can turn this around. We've got some very good news coming over the next 2 months with Balogun being back. Haji Wright is back and playing every single week. Malik Tillman getting back into the side. Serginho Dest, we really, really forget how key Serginho Dest is to this side. He has been a crucial part of the U.S. men's national team for the last 4 years. And I think the last thing with Pochettino, he needs to get his recruiting done ahead of the Gold Cup. He needs to get Noah Kai Banks signed up. He needs to get Damian Downs signed up. He needs to get Nathaniel Brown signed up. And if he can get Arnie Chase as well, that's great. Those 4 players, we absolutely need to start getting our dual nationals signed up for the U.S. men's national team. Get a couple of them into this Gold Cup squad this summer. We should handily win the Gold Cup squad. And listen, let's stick with this formation in possession. Let's get Dest into the side. We're going to get Malik Tillman into the starting 11. Yeah, maybe it's Weah, maybe it's Musa, maybe it's Tessman, maybe it's Cardoso, whatever it may be. But this is a lineup that's going to have no problem creating, that's going to be able to maintain a strong base, strong possession, a strong spine. And we're going to win the Gold Cup under Mauricio Pochettino this summer and go on to have a great year leading up to the World Cup. That's another episode of Yanks Abroad. Make sure to hit the subscribe button. Give us a like. Throw a comment in there about what you'd like to see me talk about next week. If there's some formational things you're not sure about, let me know if you think we should go to a back five. I personally don't think so. There are some people who clearly do, as I pointed out. So I'd love to hear your guys' thoughts. And I'll talk to you next week on Yanks Abroad.